I wondered what was going to happen at 0 seconds, and now I know. You're here. I'm here. Welcome to the Speakeasy. I'm your barkeeper, Jeff Belanger, and I am so glad you're here because I'm glad to be anywhere, right? It's good for us to get together, hang out a little bit. There's no cover. We don't card anyone. So please, oh please, if you're watching, like, share, start your watch parties so other people can hang out with us, which is always nice. Always, always nice. How you been this week? Good. I've been okay. Very busy, catching up on all kinds of things. A couple shameless plugs, if we could get those in, if you don't mind. Tomorrow night, I've got a New England Legends program, virtual, for the Yarmouth Town Library. You can still register and get a link. Just go to jeffbelanger.com, click on gigs, and then you'll see a link to register, and you can get your link to attend for free wherever you are. Zoom meeting tomorrow night. That'll be fun. 7:00 Eastern. And then the Lizzie Borden House on Dark Zone TV. That's coming up August 28th to 31st. And that'll be a good time. We will probably touch on that tonight, considering my drinking buddy here this evening is also part of that. So feels like we should get some kind of shameless plug in. So yeah, check in. Where you from? What you drinking tonight? What are you doing? How you been? How you hanging out? Do all that. Please do that. Otherwise, what do you think? New logo? You like it? And a little countdown clock? Kind of cool, right? A little different. I'm trying to class it up a little bit. That's been my objective here. Because you guys are worth it. You're worth the effort. Tonight, I'm having a little pre-mixed, because I'm lazy, pre-mixed margarita, Jose Cuervo, plain old margarita, always good. And with that, I think it's time to bring in our guest extraordinaire. You've seen him on TV, and to prove it, quite frankly, there's his t-shirt. As seen on TV, Dave Schrader, there he is, as far as you know. So,
hello.
Mr. Schrader.
It's good to see you again, my friend.
It's good to be seen. So, as seen on TV, season 2 of the Holzer Files. I thought one of the things we'd talk about tonight is life on the road during these very strange times. And of course, there's the Travel Channel's Holzer Files, season 2. Congratulations. Congrats, dude. How you been?
I've been well. It's been a crazy, mixed up, nutty year, but I'm glad to be here and have made it through season 2. We stopped after episode 5 and had that 3-month hiatus of what are we going to do next? And we were, as my understanding goes, we were the first paranormal show back out in the field. Really kind of an interesting situation to be in. But I got to give it to our production company and Travel Channel. They put amazing things in place to assure our safety. Yep. And we were bathed every night in rubbing alcohol and fire, blasters. So yeah, I feel like anything I had was killed.
It's weird, right? So I did work on one project, and there's only a couple people in the room. Everybody's wearing masks. There's COVID tests and all this other stuff. Does that make it harder to do the job that you need to do when everything's so sterile like that?
No, because when literally everybody on set was tested weekly. The people that we met with were tested before we met with them. Locations were cleaned before, during, and after. So it was, it was really well done. So it didn't affect any of the final product. It just took longer to film because we had a crew that would set up. We had a crew that ran things. We had a crew that broke down. So it just took a little longer for everything to take place so that we kept apart from each other as much as possible.
Sure. So I forgot to ask you, what are you drinking tonight, Dave? I'm jumping ahead. I'm too fast.
This is a concoction that my wife has created for me. It's called Fiery Ginger Balls.
Right.
So our main ingredient, of course, is Fireball.
Fireball. See that?
Our drink is AHA sparkling water that is apple ginger. Let's see if I can. Apple ginger. Hence the fiery apple red ginger balls, whatever it comes out to be.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm about to mix up here. And I'm not. You're the mixologist. Should I go water first, then Fireball, or Fireball then?
Because it's fizzy, I would dump in the Fireball and then pour the fizz over it so it sort of mixes as it goes.
Wow, you've really gotten good at this job.
Yeah. No, you know what, Dave? I've been practicing the drinking. So you do that. Look, Dave, John Gately says, Jeff, can we see the photo for old time's sake? I don't know what photo he's talking about. Oh, wait, maybe maybe it's that one. Could be that one. There you go, John. Don't say I never gave you nothing.
I think we have another photograph on our refrigerator, honey, that's equally as exciting. Let me see if we can dig out another fine photograph from the past of Dave and Jeff.
Okay, well, will you do that? Would you like to see me with a mullet, like full-on mullet, like?
Yes.
Yes.
Why do you need to ask? I thought we were friends.
Are you ready? Well, wait. First, a toast to surviving. Cheers. Oh, look at that. The Darkness Radio glass. Woo. How are your fiery ginger balls are good?
Yeah.
All right. So are you ready for some mullet?
I'm ready for some mullet.
Pow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is some super mullet.
That's my Christmas mullet.
That is great. Had I known, I would have sent you my 1980s Randu, where I've got the fluffed out George Michaels and the one ring in my ear.
Yeah.
But here we go. Here's
oh yeah.
There's our classic.
God, that is beautiful. So back right after that was taken in Virginia City, shortly after a noon wedding where you and I had drank as much as we could in a very short period of time.
We did.
And so can we see our eyes again? Can you show that? We're a little glossy.
That's not just the matte finished picture you're seeing.
Yeah, a little glossy. And so we took our couples photo. And then what I did for the next event, you know how all the real celebrities sell the 8x10s autographed and they're like $20? And like, you know, I'm not big enough for that. So I got those made up into wallet size photos. That's one of them right there. And I was selling them for $1. And then I felt guilty for selling them for $1. So I started giving them.
Selling them for more. Look at the love.
I know that's worth at least $1.25. Like yeah.
It's forever on our refrigerator amongst all the friends and family. My children all refer to you lovingly as Uncle, Auntie, Jeff. Yeah. So it works out well.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's kind of beautiful. I don't know where the Uncle Auntie thing comes from because
they're not here to judge our love.
No, well, a little bit. I think there's a little bit of judge there. It feels like a little bit of judge, but yeah. And Jenny points out, God, these things go so fast. Yeah. Flashback to my years in high school. Yes, I don't know if that's the couple's photo or my mullet photo. I have no idea, but yes, I'd get it. Oh, look, Raylene says she'd pay $1.50. Maybe it's time to put those things back into circulation because times are tough.
I just love how everybody's looking at your picture from 1984 and you haven't aged, you blood-sucking vampire. We've now got the proof.
What are you talking about?
You don't look any different. Except for the length of hair. Yes, exactly. You've aged not a bit. You got to tip the head up a little bit more. Yeah. And less open on the mouth. Yeah, that's it. Boom. Still surprised. The look I never get tired of.
Oh, the shenanigans. Oh God. So what was life like on the road? I mean, you actually had to fly, which is scary. I haven't been on a plane since this all hit.
I got to tell you, probably the safest time in the world to travel because there's nobody at the airports. There's nobody on the planes. It's like a quarter capacity.
Nobody maintaining the plane, no one checking the brakes, no one checking the lines. Just no. Yeah, totally safe.
No, they're fine. They're all out in those like rubber, S&M costumes, making sure everybody's safe outside. But on the plane, there's not many people, at least on the flights I took. And the hotels were limited, so they wouldn't go to full capacity. And we would go on set and film, and then we had to return to our rooms and stay there. The only time that Shane and I might venture out would be like if we went for a drive to a creepy old cemetery. And we drive around looking at cemetery stones or getting out at famous headstones, but there was nobody there. So, we really did stick to the social distancing and quarantining ourselves as best we could.
And are people like looking at you like, what are you guys doing with a film crew? And because you went all over, right? I mean, you were on from sea to shining sea.
Yeah. No, because thankfully the places that we visited are kind of, some of them are shut down to the public right now.
Sure.
If they were museums or historic sites. So there was really nobody there. We just didn't run into that, and people were pretty kind. And again, there were a lot of safety protocols put into play to get back out in the field and be the first kids out in the sandlot again.
Oh God, it's great. So Ghost Adventures has been filming too, and the challenge is like, city by states and cities are changing the rules like by the day.
Yeah.
So what looks fine for 2 weeks from now suddenly isn't, and suddenly someone's competing for your love, Dave. Look at that.
Who's that? Oh, Shane Pittman. That's my buddy.
Pittman. Shane, I won't have it. Dude, I'll bounce it, and you're gone. That's that. He's gone. He's gone. He was mine first.
It's not Shane. A pretty color on you, Jeff Belanger.
Listen, when you snuggle with Dave Shane Pittman, does he smell like me? I think he does. I think he does. We had lunch that one time, and I saw the way you were looking at me. You were looking at me like, I just got to get this guy out of the way. And Dave's all mine.
That's it. Shane was just using me to get to you.
That dude, no question. No question.
Now, the biggest thing I'll tell you, the biggest change, and you should be able to see it right now, the biggest change from filming during the COVID crisis.
Yes.
This ear sticks out about a good inch further than it ever did before from holding masks on. And
from the masks, yes.
Yes. So that's something we're going to all have to think about. I'm going to have to start like duct taping it back at night.
Yeah.
So that it's not quite as sloth love chunk. That's kind of how I feel.
Dave smells like me, Jeff. Listen, Shane, again, you're bounced. You're just gone. So it's starting to freak me out a little that Captain Kirk William Shatner is staring at you from over your shoulder.
Yeah, well, we've got the good captain, and then we've got Martin and Lewis.
That's a drink.
What, the good captain and Martin and Lewis?
Yeah, those are two different drinks. I've never had the good captain, but the Martin and Lewis, that's fantastic.
I've got my Lone Ranger autograph over here as well. See,
You're
Clayton Moore, the only Lone Ranger that counts.
Tell me the biggest geek out moment of a celebrity meeting you've ever had, where you were just like literally like like giggling tween.
It was weird. Bruce Campbell, I'm a huge fan of Bruce Campbell, and we had him on our show, and I felt very Chris Farley during that whole interview. Remember when you were in The Evil Dead? That was cool. I felt awesome. Very out of my element for that. But I'll tell you one of the funniest moments. We're both fans of Doctor Who and Torchwood.
Yep.
There is a gentleman by the name of Captain Jack, right? And he is John Barrowman is a very outed homosexual. There's very well known. And I'd gone to see him at Dragon Con, and I was collecting autographs for charity. And my friend was with me, Shay, and we go walking up to get the autograph. And I go to explain why I'm there and that we're raising money for a battered women's shelter in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting down, and he's a very good looking guy. And this is the exchange we have. Well, hello. Yeah. Hi. And then I stopped and I looked over at Shay and I said, what just happened? She goes, I don't know. And I turned back to him and I go, I really like your stuff. It was that. My voice dropped and I'm like, hey, I really like your stuff. And then I turned to her and I go, what is going on with me? And she goes, I think you might be gay for John Barrowman. And his husband is sitting next to him laughing. And I'm like, I've never had this effect. And like, we're talking like he's not there and he's totally eating it up. And I turned back to him and I'm like, so we're trying to collect autographs. And I'm wondering if you'd like to donate one. And he's like, I'd love to. And then he starts laughing at me. And then I bought an autograph from him as well. And I think he signed it Love and Kisses, John Barrowman. But it was this very awkward, weird, I don't know. It pinged my inner manhood and brought it out really quickly for some reason. I just went from, hey, we're doing this, we'd love your autograph, to, hey, how you doing? It was embarrassing and weird. Yeah.
I like your stuff. Raylene wants to know, is that how you flirt, Dave? I'll answer that. Don't worry. I got this. No, he pretty much, just slams a few drinks and just goes right in for the, yeah.
That's right.
Right at it. So
that's where the money is. Once I get those lips on you,
yeah,
you're done.
Yeah, you're all his. So we were at the Queen Mary at one of a darkness event. The charity auction was the same women's shelter, and Aaron Gray was there.
Yes.
Now, let me just help people out. I'm 9 years old, and I'm watching Buck Rogers.
Buck.
Bitty, bitty, bitty. And Wilma walks onto the screen. I'm 9, and suddenly...
That's Commander Wilma Daring to you.
Commander Wilma Daring walks onto the screen in this painted-on spandex thing, and all of a sudden, something stirred inside. I hadn't felt that until I met Dave Schrader, but that was the first time, and I just went, what's going on, and what is that? Right? And Wilma, I was just like, oh my God, I want to marry her, right? And then I was just so infatuated. And then Silver Spoons, the mom, minus the outfit, but still looking great. Kate, right? That's right, Kate. And so there I was in the presence of Aaron Gray, and I pulled Dave aside. And at this, my daughter was like still a newborn at the time, and I was like, Dave, do I tell her I have a daughter in part because of her? and Dave's like, yeah, she's heard it. And so I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, I kind of did want to be that guy, but I didn't. I wasn't that guy.
You were that guy. Do you not remember what happened next?
Uh-oh, what happened?
Remember that we were standing there.
Yeah.
And then Grant Wilson walked up.
Yes.
And you go, dude, Aaron Gray is here. I think I became a man to Aaron Gray, Grant. And Grant goes, I think we all became a man to Aaron Gray. And Aaron Gray walks around the corner and looks at us all and goes, well, that's nice to hear, boys.
Oh,
you remember that?
Dude, I know. And then you're like, oh, I blew my chance with Aaron Gray. I didn't have a chance. I mean, who we kidding? Yeah, no, I never did. But it doesn't matter. Like, we like hung out. We got to talk. I'm like, oh, what are you working on now? And she was telling me about this like sci-fi project or whatever. And the whole time I'm like, I'm talking to Wilma. In my head, I'm just going, bro, I've pulled the 9-year-old me out of the past right into the present. And I'm like, high five, dude. We're talking to Wilma. Like, it was just, Anyway.
Well, I would say that those were, so in that kind of vein, I grew up loving horror movies, sci-fi movies. One of my favorite is Night of the Comet. Do you remember that movie from the 80s? Right?
Oh, yeah.
And Kelly Maroney was the cute little blonde cheerleader. And Kelly was on Facebook and was friends with a friend of a friend. And I just sent her a message, and she's actually a big fan of the paranormal. And we messaged a few times back and forth. And then she goes, I really hate using Messenger. Can I just call you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call me. I go, sure. And I text my number and I push it, and all of a sudden my phone rings. And I answer it, and it's Kelly flippin' Maroney. And so we became friends. She came out to the Queen Mary for one of our events. We auctioned off seats next to her, which Tim and I bought.
Well, yeah, you did.
During dinner, I think we paid $250 a seat to sit next to her.
Well,
and we just became good buddies. And she's a sweetheart, but she was one of those I had a big crush on. And now I'm friends with her. And then, that was pretty cool. And then Jennifer Runyon, who was in so many great 80s TV shows and movies, and Charles in Charge and Up the Creek. And she was replacement Cindy in the Very Brady Christmas. And she was the girl at the beginning of Ghostbusters that Bill Murray is doing the card trick with.
The Zener cards. Yeah.
So she is amazing and gorgeous. And all of a sudden she's become friends with me. So it's been like this door has opened up this paranormal has opened up the door to like all of my high school movie crushes I've had a chance to talk to, including from Weird Science, Kelly. Oh my God.
Brock.
Yeah. I wanted to say LeBlanc and I knew that wasn't it. Kelly LeBrock, right?
Yeah.
I get to talk to her at Dragon Con, did an interview with her, and we're sitting there chatting one-on-one. And I'm like lost in her eyes and just talking to her. And she's telling me about her really amazing paranormal experiences. And we get done. And thank God this was before the Me Too movement, because I don't know how this would have been accepted at that moment had it been now. But I looked at her and I just said, I just got to tell you, you are even more gorgeous in person than you are on the big screen. And she just, her face softened, and she just gave me this really sweet look. And she said, well, thank you so much. That means a lot. And she gave me this really nice hug. And I blacked out. I think I blacked out.
Did it get awkward? Like, was it the hug that's just a little too long? And you're like,
no, I hugged her and held her, and then I let go, and then went.
Yeah.
And that was
I'll
it.
never wash this body again. And I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Nope.
Yeah, I haven't become friends with any, like Aaron Gray doesn't call me. Like, I don't have any of that.
Sorry.
The other time I lost my ever-loving crap
Yep.
was the time I got to interview Weird Al Yankovic. That was like legit, because I grew up around celebrities. I don't get starstruck ever, 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 except when you meet Weird Al. And I'm backstage, and it's before the show, like hours before the show, and I get to do the interview, and I'm just like, eat it, right? Like, are you going to do Mr. Frump? I'm trying to show off that, like, I know I can go deep into his catalog, right? Like, not even B-sides. We're talking unreleased singles and, like, you know, like the session tapes, right? You know, and I'm like, oh, Weird Al, crazy. And at first he was just like, okay, let's do this. And then I was like, dude, I'm the biggest fan ever. I even know your band. There was a time I went to see him in like this little club, right, in New Haven, Connecticut, Toad's Place. And then I was having pizza next door before the show, and his whole band is in the next table because no one knows who they are. No one but me. And I'm like, Bermuda Schwartz, and there's the guitarist. I'm like, hey guys, oh my God, like the whole band's here. And they were like, wow, bro. Like,
I want to just point out, I know the entire band. Hey, Bermuda Shorts, and the guy that plays guitar.
Yeah.
You know him like the back of my hand.
Yeah, like the back of he was anyway. So they were like, oh wow, you're like a legit fan, but the whole band's there. Al, of course, is not, but because Al and I are like that. But yeah, that was the time. I mean, that's the only other time I totally lost it. But yeah, Aaron Gray, that was a moment, and you were there, and it was beautiful. And then that night, remember when you and I were alone? I'm just like, I'm calling you Aaron. And you're like Aaron Goodwin? I'm like, sure, whatever.
That's all right. I called you Buck. I felt it was a reciprocal treatment.
Yeah.
No. I will tell you, my favorite moment, though, was when I was in high school. The World of Wheels came rolling into Chicago.
Yep.
And Adam West, Batman, was going to be there with the Batmobile. And I'm like, I wonder if he's staying at the adjacent hotel. So I call the hotel. I'm a teenager. Yes. Yes. Adam West's room, please. This is Dave Schrader from the Lake Park Lancer. Hold, please. Adam West answers the phone.
Hello.
And I'm like, Mr. West. Yes. And I'm like, my name is Dave Schrader. I'm a high school student at Lake Park in Chicagoland area. And I would like to do an interview with you for our school paper. And he says, will you be at the World of Wheels show? And I said, yes. He said, come find me and I'll make sure that we make time for each other. I'm like, okay. You know, I'm thinking he's not going to follow through.
No.
So I hang up the phone. I'm psyched. I go to the World of Wheels car show, stand in line, and he's in full Batman uniform, right?
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And he's sitting up there, and I get up, and as I'm talking to him, and I go, Mr. West, my name is Dave Schrader from the Lake Park Lancer. I came to interview. And he goes, yes, come around the table. So I got to sit at the table with him while he autographed things, answering questions for me between answering questions for fans. And then at one point, this little kid comes up and pushes the picture in front of me. And it's Batman and Robin. And Adam West just turns and looks at me, and he goes, come on, chum, sign it for the boy. So I just reach down and I sign it Robin. And then I pass it over to him, and he goes, thank you. And he signs it and talks to the kid, and we both smile and nod. And the kid takes off, and he goes, you just made his day. And I'm like, no, you made his day. He goes, no, meeting Batman and Robin. I got referred to as Batman and Robin by Adam frickin' West.
Yeah.
That was my moment. And I went to see him a few years later after my son was born. And I brought him in he's a little baby, and he's all pudgy, and he's in his little Batman pajamas. And I had a movie poster from the movie, the original 1960s movie. As we're waiting in line, they announce Adam and Bert will not be signing any other merchandise except for the cards that they're providing, which I want to point out the oddity of this. It was a cardboard card about like an 8x10.
Yeah.
With a Batmobile, and Burt Ward and Adam West, like in pictures, little circle pictures. And it says like pow, zap. And it says your good friend, and then pre-printed, not handwritten, pre-printed, screen printed onto the card is their signatures.
What's that?
So you bring it up, and he writes your name in the spot. So he's like, and who is this? Dave. And he goes, here, Dave. And he writes Dave and hands it to me. So he didn't give me his autograph. He gave me his version of my autograph, and he handed it to me. And then I had the poster, but they had already announced no other signing. And Adam West goes, what's that? And I said, oh, it's the movie poster. I'd hoped to get it to sign, but they said, and he takes it from me, and he looks at it, and he puts it down, and he goes, he looks up at me, and he goes, we specifically told you, and he's saying it this loud, no signing other items, only the items we provided. And as he's yelling at me, he's autographing the poster.
Nice.
And he nudges Burt Ward and slides it over, and he goes, can you believe the nerve of some people, Burt? I can't. Can you? And he starts tapping the paper, so Burt Ward laughs and signs it. Yeah. And then they roll it up, and he hands it to me, and he goes, get off the stage. Get off the stage. And sent me away. But I've got the 1967 black and white movie poster autographed by Burt and Adam. And those were two of my, because I'm such a huge Batman fan. That to me was one of those moments. But I got to say, I kept it together. I never was doing the that happened to me. Bruce Campbell and one other celebrity, and I can't remember who it is offhand now.
Must have really had a big impact on you.
Yeah. So, but there was the only two times I ever got kind of nervous. And then when I went to introduce Shatner last year at Wizard World.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, they bring me back. I go up, I warm up the audience. I get everybody kind of happy and cheering and getting going. I walk back, and William Shatner standing there, and we shake hands. And he goes, I go, is there anything that you'd like me to say, in introducing you? And he looks at me, and he kind of cocks his head, and he goes, here's William Shatner. And that was it. I'm like, good enough. So I went out, did a little bit more pumping of the audience, and as we were ready to go, I go, ladies and gentlemen, here's William Shatner. And he came out on stage, gave me a big handshake. But I've got two pictures of William Shatner and I. And in both pictures, his eyes are fixated on my crotch.
That makes sense.
I kid you not. I'll send you the pictures.
I believe
it's crazy.
So I want to share a story with our friends here. So Dave and I are, we're not nothing, right? We're kind of a big deal in certain circles. So there we are at the Stanley Hotel at a Darkness radio event.
Yes.
And we're standing, right by the front door of the main entrance to the hotel.
No. I'm sitting with my feet up on the desk. You're standing next to me. So this makes it even look more impressive for whoever walks through those front doors.
Sure. And that desk, by the way, is directly next to the main entrance, the door where you walk in. And so there's the paranormal events going on. Dave and I are just kind of hanging out. And some woman walks in who's not with the event. She's not with the event. She's just sort of like checking out the hotel, and she's in town. And she's like, what's going on here? There's all this commotion and stuff. And we said, well, there's a paranormal event here this weekend. She goes, oh my God. It's you guys. And Dave and I are like, yeah, all right, cool. All right, nice. Yeah. And she's like, I am such a big fan of Ghost Hunters. I love Ghost Hunters. I watch you guys like every week, and thinking Dave Schrader is Jason Hawes and I'm Grant Wilson. And so we look at each other and we look back at her, and we're like, clearly you're a mega fan. You spotted us right away. You didn't even like miss a beat. And so, I was totally willing to sign an autograph, but she didn't ask. I was willing to do photos, whatever, but she was just like, oh my God, I'm such a fan. No one's going to believe I met you guys. And we're like, yeah, no one will believe it. And
it is uncanny. And I remember when she said that, we looked at each other, smiled, and then I leaned forward and I said, hi, Jason Hawes.
Right.
Grant Wilson. People probably can't see it, but hold on. Like Clark Kent and Superman, watch. Jason Hawes.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Grant Wilson.
It's uncanny. Yeah. Wait a minute, though. Ready? It gets better. Hey, I got a buddy who can tell me more about that pirate ship that you brought in. Let me give him a call.
It's Rick from Pawn Stars.
That's right.
On the speakeasy. You get...
Nope. Where'd he go? He must have left. I don't know. I saw him here, but he...
all right. Now I want to talk to Dave Schrader. Bring back Dave. Oh God. Look at Tim says, please go as Jason and Grant for Halloween together. Look it. We got a little love here. You guys are way more handsome.
Thank you, Mr. Belanger.
I agree. So no, we have gone as matching. I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately, but at one of the Chicago Paracons, we went as a matching outfit. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that we had to come as our favorite Chicago ghost.
Right.
So I came dressed as what the hell is her name now? Mrs. O'Leary.
Mrs. O'Leary. Yep.
And you came as the
cow,
the lantern kicking cow that started the Chicago fire.
Yeah, it was epic. It was epic. Oh wait, Ginger says, I met Jeff and Dave at a Paracon a few years ago. They are very nice. I offered to buy them a drink and Dave declined. I think he wasn't sure if I was crazy or not. Then notice she didn't say I declined. I was probably like,
Ginger, I was positive you were crazy, but that's not why I declined. When I'm at the events, I really do go to try to work. I drink on rare occasion at the events because I've watched some of our friends drink a lot at these Paracons and regret it. And then I'm up early and bed late. I want to try to be on for all the fans. It doesn't mean you haven't seen me blitzed on occasion at an event. But I leave that to Jeff and my wife Winnie to be the big drinkers at the conventions.
So, okay, no, Dave's not a big drinker, although we've had more than a few drinks at these things. Let me tell a story about Cripple Creek, Colorado.
And you do have about 4 of these speakeasies where I'm annihilated by the end of it. So there's that.
Right. There's that. Yeah, you guys can go watch some older ones, and you'll see Dave like barely conscious by the end. So we're in Cripple Creek, Colorado at the St. Nicholas Hotel, like 9,000 feet above sea level. So we are very high already. And I believe that something had been decriminalized or even legalized in the state. I don't remember what it was, but it was something. And it was late at night. The day was over, and you had like the presidential suite, right? Like next door, you had like the whole thing. And some guy's like, "Hey, like, can I smoke you guys up?" I don't know what he meant, but I was like, "Oh, no, thanks. We're way up here at altitude or whatever." And then Bill Chappell, boy, are we talking out of school? We're talking out of school, aren't we? Anyway,
you are.
I am.
Please continue.
He says, "Oh, I'm in." I'm like, "You're in?" Because like there could be the mysteries of the universe could be revealed, and I don't want to miss that. So I don't remember what happened after that, but I do remember Dave going, "Are my feet on the ground?" I don't know if are my feet on the ground. We had to convince you that they were.
I was sitting in an oversized chair, but my feet didn't feel like they were. I felt like I was like 9 years old. Like my feet were just like, here's the end of the chair, and my feet were just kind of like.
Yeah,
I couldn't touch the floor.
Yeah, no,
that's how high I was.
You were higher than Giraffe. Yeah,
yeah.
So, yeah, and that was a good time. Although, as far as I recall, we didn't learn any mysteries of the universe, which I was sort of counting on.
Bill Chappell sat quiet in the corner like Yoda.
Yeah,
high and judging.
Right. Yeah, we were singing a little. Spent the last year. Right. Yeah, we were singing some John Denver for sure.
Yeah, we were definitely Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah. Yes. No, it was one of those adventures where you're just like, how do you not do that?
Hey, look at that. Anne from Australia is checking in. Hey, Anne.
What is she? Oh, where is she?
Anne with the unpronounceable last name, Richikovic.
Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hi, Dave and Jeff. Hello from Australia. G'day down under. We actually, it's morning there, so some of them are just drinking, So
Anne is famous. She's another one of those TV stars. She's been on like Murderous Women, that TV series. She's played like 8 villainous killing women. I guess she got typecast.
Oh, wait, speaking of murderous killing women, I feel like we should like do a plug, or should we skip it?
No, we should. Let's hit the plug, because that's coming up in a week from this Friday.
It is. Okay, there it is. Ready? Okay, and plugged. All right, moving on.
It's true crime. It's paranormal. It's blended together. There's going to be unprecedented access for 3 days. 24 hours a day stream. You can watch investigations. You can be part of the investigations. And then you got boneheads like Jeff and I who are going to be Skyping in and talking, sharing our stories. And Jeff and I share some cool experiences. And I got trapped there. Wasn't that Hurricane Sandy?
It was, yeah, I think, or was it Irene? It was whatever big hurricane hit Massachusetts. So Dave and I were the only 2 that ended up staying overnight at the Lizzie Borden house. We did an event there, and like this hurricane was bearing down. And And so you stayed in the murder room. I stayed in Lizzie's room. And yeah, no, it's such a cool place. I've been there so many times over the years. And I'm psyched about this. So it's a live stream. If you saw The Conjuring live, it's the same people that brought you that. And so Susan Slaughter's going to be hosting it. And I just heard today Susan Slaughter's going to join us in the Speakeasy Wednesday night, I think the night before it starts.
Cool.
So yeah, so we'll have some drinks with her. And yeah, so it'll be a live stream, 24/7 access. Darkzone.tv is where you find that. So it should be a hoot. And you'll see Dave and I then too. Although we won't be together, Dave's going to get his ears pushed back by then.
God, these are really irritating me. I'm seeing that COVID mask ear problem. Forget COVID toes. I'm going to have to put my glasses on the outside of my ears. Does that look natural?
No. Are you getting the glasses fog up when you've got the mask on?
Oh, it's brutal. Brutal. And then they go to wipe them off and it's just your breath grease. Yeah. And they're smudgy and horrible.
Yeah.
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 So I had to be really careful. I had to bring all these special cleaning supplies because it always looked like I was looking at a ghost in my glasses. There's these smudges and breath up in there. I'm like,
I see a paranormal mist forming. And yeah, you're just, right.
There you go.
Jeff's my little
air biscuit of love.
Of love. Dave's my little air biscuit of love. It's kind of beautiful.
We have a unique relationship, that's for sure.
Why can't I quit you?
I don't want you to. There's no reason to. But I gotta find a way. Season 3, get you on an episode of the Holzer Files with us. We wrapped up season 2. Astounding season.
Thanks. You call me when you need like extra info. When you're like, hey, you got a little extra something on this place? I'm like, of course I do, Dave. Here you go. But no Jeff on camera.
But you're right here. You're in my heart the whole time.
Oh my God, it's like I've been on every episode.
That's right. But Jeff, I gotta not even bragging. I am so excited for fans to see the series. It's going to start up again, I believe, in October of 2020 on the Travel Channel, and we have got some amazing episodes and some of the best, hands down, paranormal activity caught I've ever seen. Personally, I'm really excited about this season. We've got some great episodes, historic sites, legendary moments, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, some hashtag poor Shane moments will be a part of the mix.
That is beautiful. When does it start? When's the new
I was told it's supposed to begin in October 2020, but with the COVID crisis, everything's kind of up in the air. But October 2020 is supposed to be the start date at some point, which we started, I think, the first week in October last year. So I'm going to guess in the first couple of weeks of October, you'll see the triumphant return of the Holzer Files.
Look at Ginger. Ginger loves the Holzer Files.
Thank you, Ginger. At least one person.
The Holzer Files, Dave.
The Holzer Files, yeah.
The Holzer. You know what? You call it whatever you want, as long as you're tuned in. You can call it Holzer, Holler. Yep, there she goes. She corrected herself. Holder. That's, well done. Holder. And Shane's staying in here, even though I've booted him like 3 times.
He's like the rash you gave me at the Queen Mary. Just can't get rid of it no matter how hard you try.
Yeah. No, I know. It's kind of sweet, though, right? In a weird way.
Yeah. Shane's great. And we've had such a good time traveling and seeing places and having experiences. As a matter of fact, last season, when we were out near Fall River, I took Shane to the Lizzie Borden house. And not only did we get to see Lizzie Borden, but they actually gave us a tour over at Maplecroft, which is the home that Lizzie lived in prior to her death. And I believe she died on scene at that house.
I don't recall. It could be. I don't recall that. But I mean, that's possible. So anyway, we'll be doing that a week from next, right? End of in a week or so.
28th through the 31st or something.
Yes. It will be a hoot of all hoot nannies. And we won't be on together though, which is too bad. You
just had a birthday, August 8th.
I did. Oh, shucks.
Happy birthday, honey.
Your son's the same birthday.
Our buddy Timmy D from Darkness Radio, 50th birthday this month.
He's the 28th, right?
Yep.
Because
he's the 26th. My wife is the 28th, and she said, "Don't forget it again, Jeff."
Sorry.
Yeah. She's a very hostile drinker.
You get so cranky when you've had a few. So 50. Good God.
Yeah. Yep. Believe it or not, I'm going to clip over to 53 this November.
Wow.
Yeah. Remember when this used to have color in it?
No.
Shut up, you jackass. It did. It used to be nice and golden brown, like right here. This is the only part of my entire deal is all white except for this.
Wait. All right, it's coming back now. I do remember a lot of brown
Yeah.
around. Okay, right. Yes, indeed. How's your drink? Is it still good?
Yeah, I'm on my second wave. It's delicious. My wife has created something remarkable. If you want the ingredients, you can send us $29.95.
Fair enough.
We'll show you how to make it. It's this AHA ginger apple water mixed with Fireball, and it tastes unbelievably refreshing and delicious. So congratulations to my wife for creating fiery ginger balls.
Fiery ginger balls. Raylene says Jeff will be 50 and look 15 still. 50 is not far away, Raylene. I'm closing in on it. Whatever.
You're still far enough away from it that I wish I was that far away from it.
Oh.
Dude, it's amazing. Think about this. You know, our last big Darkness Radio event was in November of 2012 at the Stanley Hotel.
Holy crap, really?
That's 8 years ago for the last big Darkness Radio event. But I've promised myself that when this COVID crisis lifts, I'll break this news on your show right now. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
When the COVID crisis lifts and the world goes back to a form of normalcy, Darkness Radio Events returns. We're going to return to the Queen Mary. We're going to return to Eastern State Penitentiary. And we've got some other gems along the way. We're going to do some more of these big paranormal conferences with Holzer Files, Jeff Belanger, Tim Dennis from Darkness Radio, and some of our other friends from the paranormal universe. We will be going out and doing these big conferences that we all loved so much. It's been 8 years since I've been out on the road and I've done events for everybody else, like our good friends, Tim and Brad out at the Michigan Paracon and Ursula Bielski's Chicago conferences and all of these others that have popped up. But this is big. And I'm going to be back swinging for the fences with these events again. I don't like to brag, but when you do something and you do it well, you got to own it. And I still to this day believe, hands down, we had some of the best events that ever happened. So I'm looking forward to get back to it. Yeah,
dude, there's a whole family, like dysfunctional family, but still a family of people who miss that so much. They still talk about it. They talk about like, the times we used to have, we used to joke about like, we should just do an event where we don't invite anybody. Like it's just us, like hanging out someplace haunted. And dude, they were a blast. I remember, we had Ghost Adventures and we were at Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And that night, oh God. So first of all, that night, I remember the building, it was the second time I'd been there, but like the building was electric. And I don't usually feel that. I don't feel things when I walk into a place, but that time I walked in and I was like, it felt crowded. Like there was a mob of people everywhere and we're walking through and it just stuff's happening in every room and all that other stuff. And what a night, right? We saw like apparition walk out of a door. I was with like 3 other people. We all saw it. It was amazing. And then on the way back, there's I don't know if it's still there, a White Castle right across the street. And I sit down with Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures and we decide to get like the suitcase of sliders for the 2 of us. And we just start taking those things downtown, right? We're just... And I remember the people that work there, because it's 2 a.m. We'd been ghost hunting all night. And they're like, I've never seen someone sober act or eat like you guys, right? Because we hadn't drank, we hadn't had nothing. No. We were working. And so that night I got back to the hotel and in the middle of the night, sound asleep, I wake up, a gunshot had gone off. And I went from dead asleep to like vertical fight or flight, like, holy crap, what do I do?
I think the term you're looking for is fart or flight.
It was my butt. My butt had woken me out of a sleep that was deep, deep, deep because I was exhausted. And I was sure someone fired a gun in my hotel room. And I just leapt to my feet. And
my poor wife, Winnie, hears gunshots all the time.
They still don't rent out that room anymore.
No, they don't.
They shut it for good.
Did I tell you? Did I tell on the speakeasy the creepy story I had happen to me? Speaking of my wife,
What was it about your wife, or was it about
no. So
Waverly Hills?
I'm doing my radio show at the time, and it was late night. So it's like 12:30 at night.
Yep.
And it was a Tuesday. I know this because we had recorded True Crime Tuesday earlier in the day. And then here we are late at night in our house. I'm doing my radio show, and we start hearing, "Help! Help!" This woman screaming bloody murder. And it continues. And I'm like, honey, I'm doing a radio show. I'm like, go check the kids, make sure nobody's having a nightmare. She walks to the house. It keeps screaming for help. And she calls the cops. Cops, we're going to come out and look. So as I'm doing it from my vantage point, I can see the window. I see the cop lights going around, but nobody gets out of their car.
Right.
15 minutes later, the screaming starts again. And I get off the air, call the cops. I'm like, you need to get here. And they're like, oh, we already had somebody go through that area. I'm like, no. There's somebody screaming, help. Somebody is being murdered. You need to get out here now. We'll send a cop. Cop comes pulling up. I go out there, and he goes, tell me what you heard, sir. And I tell him, and he goes, okay. He goes, well, we've done a check. We drove by. I spotlighted the yards. I didn't see anything. I said, no, you got to get out of your car because somebody's being beaten and dragged. And he starts laughing. He goes, how long have you lived here? I said, about a year. And what does that have to do with anything? This is normal, people being beaten and screaming? And he goes, no. He goes, do yourself a favor when you get back inside and go to YouTube and look up fox mating call. And I look at him and I go, no, dude, this wasn't an animal. Somebody was screaming, help, help, help. And he's like, just go check it out. So I walk in the house, I go to my wife, and I put on YouTube and I pull up fox mating call. Help! Help! Screeches at the top of its lungs. It is the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
My wife and I were pretty sure a murder. See, if somebody was willing to kill somebody, if they wait till there's a fox screwing in their front yard, they can do it because the cops don't care because they'll just blame it on the fox.
Right. That's beautiful. Is your new home haunted too?
Yes. Actually, the one we moved out of was very haunted. We had a lot of weird things. As a matter of fact, on our last night, my family, we bought a house a block and a half away from the house we were renting. And the last night, my wife and everybody's over at the house. I get off the air, 2:00 in the morning, hang up my headphones, turn off my microphone, and I hear the door shut. And I start hearing footsteps. And I'm like, oh, one of the kids. And I'm like, no, it's 2:00 in the morning. Nobody's awake. So I lean up against the bedroom door and I call the cops. And I'm like, they might know we're moving out and coming in to case the house. Somebody's getting in the house. So the cops come flying over. They're outside the window of the room I'm in. I crank the window real lightly and I'm like, here's the key code to the garage. Come in through the garage. They punch in the key code. Garage goes up. They go in. I hear them checking out the whole house. Then they come up to the bedroom I'm in. I open the door. They both step in. They're like, we did a full sweep. All the doors are locked. All the windows are shut. There's nobody here. I'm like, I'm telling you, I heard somebody walking around in here and the door shut. And they're like, well, it's an older house. Maybe that's just it. And as soon as they finish, you start hearing walking around downstairs. And the cops are like, it's just an old house. I'm sure that's all it was. And the two cops look at each other and they're like, stay here. Stay here. And then they go back out and check again. Then come in and they both look at me and they're like, we think you should leave with us now. I'm like, okay. So I turn everything off and they walk me out and we lock up the house. But we had weird things happen there. Now we've been in this house. This October will be a year. And we've had a few weird instances happen that just I can't explain away. And I'm hoping it's just little flits here and there, but there's been enough. As a matter of fact, I was just filming my season finale. And my wife was at home in bed working on something, and the
season finale of the Holzer Files, which is on the Travel Channel,
season 2.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden the Alexa turns on and starts playing music in the room next to my wife, who is not speaking.
Yeah,
so something cues it and starts playing a song that I play for her all the time. So that was kind of weird.
What's that song, Dave?
I don't want to say. It's a little thing between us, but It was
Oh,
weird. It was
it's
weird.
not our song, is it?
No, it's not jump up and jump around. It's not.
Okay.
It is. That's right. So she had that happen. We've had some other weird experiences. We've heard voices in the house. One night when we were on the stairs, my one daughter's up at the top of the stairs. Our son Max is in the middle of the stairs. I'm at the bottom, kind of talking to them, and I hear another voice. And I said, "Tell Pacey, your sister, to come down here. She needs to get some work done." And Ripley, my daughter's eyes get all big, and she looks and then looks at Max, and she goes, and I'm trying to figure out, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it hit me. Pacey wasn't even home.
Ooh.
And so I play it cool because we don't want to freak out our son Max.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards I go, did you hear the voice? And Ripley's like, yeah, I thought it was Pacey too, but she's not home. So it was really bizarre. So we've had a couple of little instances, but nothing terrifying, just unnerving from time to time.
Yeah, no, I get it. And it's a funny thing, right? Because it's usually subtle. It's not so over the top. It's like a little thing. Yeah, we've heard a few things in my house, and my house isn't old at all. It was 1996. No one's died here. But my whole family, my daughter, my wife, we've heard like footsteps coming up the basement stairs, and no one's home. And the funny thing is, it's usually after I've been to a paranormal event or of some kind or something I've been doing something, and I come home and I'm like, oh, wow, we went here and it was really cool. Or there's this place or whatever. And then like a day or two later, they'll hear that. And then they're just like, what did you bring home? I'm like, besides Dave's rash, I don't know. I don't know.
My daughter just called me out on here because this isn't the song that started playing, but to annoy my wife, we'll get in bed and I'll say, let's put on some sexy music. And she's like, what are you thinking? And I yell out, hey, Alexa, C is for cookie. And all of a sudden you hear, C is for cookie is good enough for me. Kind of ruins the mood, but I enjoy it. So it's
fun. No, dude, that gets me going every time. The funny thing, Dave, I've learned is that a lot of people have Alexa, and you could be on here. You could be like, Alexa, play the New England Legends podcast. And right now, people listening, like it's happening.
Pretty exciting stuff. Speaking of exciting stuff and podcasts, there's some big changes coming for Darkness Radio.
Tell me.
In the next month. We can't officially announce it, but
good.
Ink is signed. Papers are done. Ink is drying, and there's going to be some big fun changes. So keep up to date with darknessradio.com. This January, we celebrate our 15th anniversary of being on the air.
I actually thought it was longer. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, 15
2005,
years.
2005, right? It's like 2005.
2006, yeah. January 1st, 2006.
That is amazing. That's and I mean, I remember being on Darkness Radio. So the funny thing, and I know, Dave, you've been on a ton of shows too. And when you do a lot of paranormal radio shows, and I'm not talking about the big ones and the good ones. I mean, you know, no offense to our friends on Blog Talk Radio and stuff like that, but dude, there are people that started a Blog Talk Radio show at 2 p.m., emailed us at 3 p.m., and we're on at 8 p.m. And they've prepared one question. How'd you get into this? And it's an hour. Anyway, I always enjoyed your show. I enjoyed the conversations. It was like, it was never a hassle, right? It was always like a good back and forth. And I miss it. I miss that.
Well, we're still on the air. We're on every Saturday and Sunday with Darkness Radio.
Yeah,
so you don't have to miss it much. We also have a free app. So if anybody goes to their Google Play Store or iTunes Store, they can get the Darkness Radio app. The little logo looks just like this.
You with the plugs.
The skeleton. Yeah.
Damn it, so Dave. You with the plugs. You know, if we're talking about podcasts.
I don't plug.
Watch me. Bam. There's tomorrow's New England Legends podcast, The Secrets of the Vampire House in Limestone, Maine. This one will blow your mind. Dave, this is like our longest episode ever. It's like 25 minutes long. And, oh, that's nice. There's that. And that's right. You know, Dave.
We need to get more pictures together, buddy. I'm missing those times.
So, you know, okay, let's let people in on a little secret. Like, so these big paranormal events that are going to happen again, and it's going to be super awesome. Love it. Can't wait to go. Dave and I used to call each other, not just for his events, but for like anything. We're like, oh yeah, you're at this thing too. All right. So what should we wear? Like, this is like a week before. We're like, I'm thinking matching pink leisure suits. And I was like, dude, where am I going to get that right now? Like so anyway.
Yeah, we actually went shopping a couple of times. We had matching shirts with baby powder blue t-shirts underneath, and yeah, we've run the gamut, but we always have fun doing it, and that's why I'm looking forward to getting back into Darkness events this year and seeing you and all of our friends. I miss doing that. I miss being a part of that world, and I'm hoping, and that's me knocking on wood. I'm hoping that Holzer Files goes to another season 3, and the way you can do it is by watching season 1 and season 2. And when season 2 comes out, folks, this October, then make sure you watch all the episodes right away within 24 to 48 hours of them being on your DVR, so they count towards the ratings, or watching them live is the best way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you guys have no idea how much it counts with the views, with all that stuff, downloads, purchases, mentions, hashtags. Like the network watches all that, and that's how they decide what are people interested in, what are they buzzing, and it goes a long way. It really does.
It does,
and that's cool. And I mean, Travel Channel, dude, it's all paranormal now. Like everything's paranormal, and they got so much stuff coming on, and you're like, come on, I mean, so which shows are they going to keep around again and again? Which ones are going to be a one and done? The fact that you made it to season 2 is really promising, because like they don't do that. We
went from 10 episodes in season 1 to 13 episodes in season 2,
which is a proper season. Like that's a real season. Yeah. So I'm
hoping we'll continue on with this. There's a lot more stories. Hans Holzer was a remarkable investigator and prolific paranormal author. He has thousands of cases that he looked at and examined. And we should have a good long time out in the field doing this. And I love Cindy Keza, our medium, and Shane Pittman, our tech.
Shane's okay.
Love working with those two, and it's been a real honor. So even if it never goes another step, I've had one of the best times of my life filming this TV show.
No, dude, that's awesome. And yeah, Hans Holzer was a legend. I interviewed him. I know you interviewed him. One of my biggest thrills, my second book, Hans Holzer gave me a blurb. Those little back cover blurbs, like, cool. Hey, you should read this book. And I was geeked out beyond belief. I'm like, Hans freaking Holzer gave me a blurb like that. And he passed away not too long after that. I mean, that was near the end of his life. He was old at the time. And, but that was really, really something. And it's cool to see, when you first told me about this, I was like, Dave, do any young people know who Hans Holzer is? But I guess like that's part of the job, is to kind of like reintroduce him, like Jason and Grant, Zach and Aaron. This was way before that, right? This was the guy doing it.
This was the OG. And you know what's amazing? You watch this guy and you hear the recordings. He stays calm in the face of every weird thing thrown at him. Yeah. I've listened to recordings where the mediums he's working with you hear these vile, horrible, scary things coming. And he's always very calming and reassuring and keeping things at peace. And we try to honor that, although there were some true jump out of your skin moments in season 2. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll tell you this. I did Kool-Aid Man it through a wall on one episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I backed up through a wall. We'll see if that makes the episode or not. But it was a hell of a season, and I'm proud of it. And I hope it'll continue on. And I'll be back to visit with you here on the Speakeasy whenever you want me, Jeff.
I know you're my go-to. John Gately says we need a Dave and Jeff TV show. John, we've tried, and the problem is like the animal magnetism, I think, between us, the sexual tension, almost too much
social awkwardness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, too much for television, I think. And like we've said we want to do a goofy show, we want to have fun, we want to have like a buddy comedy, and they're like, no, the paranormal has to be serious. One day though, Dave, you'll have enough cachet with Holzer Files that you'll be like, Dave, we want to do something else. What can we do? And you're going to be like, it's time for the buddy comedy. It's time. Let me get Belanger. Let me call him up.
Listen, you and I doing a show, traveling the world, seeing some of the most haunted and amazing places and talking to the most incredible people. I don't want to just do the same old stories. There are stories in every town that people know of. But when you start digging, you start finding out that there are other stories that have been passed over. Yeah. And we should be picking at those scabs. And the two of us getting scared, having fun, and just enjoying each other's company would make an amazing show. And I hope we someday get a chance to do that and show the world what we've got. Show me that smile again. Look at that.
Dave,
Yeah.
we're out of time, and
Almost out of drink. As always, Mr. Belanger, it is a pleasure to step into your speakeasy and see all of your amazing friends that have joined us. And please, all of you, stay safe during this time. Be mindful of one another and just be kind. That's all you can do. Be kind and understanding.
Yeah, it's getting nasty out there. I agree, and I hope we can just kind of get along. And that's what I love about this thing, right? Like, we're just hanging out, folks, hanging out, all friends. And if we can do it in here, maybe you can do it tomorrow out there. And just be like Jeff and Dave, right?
Well,
is that so much
except
to
for
ask?
more distance between you, because that's social distancing. This is what not to do.
Okay, be like Jeff and Dave, 6 feet apart with just the raw attraction. And yeah, and do that. And really, Dave, it's time, that we take this thing off into the sunset.
It's closing time.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Hey, and you can check me out on the virtual 45-cent tour. Do you know what that is?
50 Cent and Nickelback.
That's right, 50 Cent opening up for Nickelback, the 45-cent tour. Take care, everybody. Be kind, love one another. Watch the Holzer Files this fall, and check out Dave and Jeff when we're on the Lizzie Borden deal. You can find that at thedarkzone.tv.
There it is.
TV. Yep.
Dave, I'll see you in a couple weeks. I love you. I love you guys. Everybody stay safe and take it easy.